And that's that feminine energy to allow and surrender. And I blocked off that feminine energy pretty much my whole life. Like I was wearing that masculine mask so I could move ahead in life and really achieve and get where I needed to go. And when I realized that masculinity, that's all I knew. When I put on that feminine mask and I really embraced it, the power within our feminine energy, the masculine's good, but I'm telling you, tapping into that feminine divine, ooh, baby,
Yeah.
that's the magic there. Yeah.
I'm so excited to have on this next guest. We actually connected via a virtual online learning summit. And I was just so thrilled to invite her on and that she said yes. And so I'm going to present to you Sherry Kennedy. Sherry was born into a life of adoption due to her birth mother's challenges, and she faced early health struggles stemming from kidney complications. As a military brat, she overcame academic and social challenges, battling bullying in a very small town. Traumatic events led her to a dark path of substance abuse, but determined to make her father proud, she transformed her life. She relocated across the country and worked her way up to become a senior Indigenous relations advisor in a major oil company. Despite ongoing struggles with weight gain and depression, she hid her challenges, projecting a brave front. A pivotal moment happened in her healing journey Her healing journey began in 2022 when surgery dashed any hopes of her having her own child, prompting a commitment to self-development. Now she's living authentically and dedicated to helping others on their purpose-driven journeys. I am so excited for you all to meet Sherry Kennedy. So good to see you.
Yes, I know. I missed you. Your light is so bright, my friend. Like I have seen you shining. I am so proud of you. You shine, my friend.
You as well. Like that's amazing. Like all the work you've been doing. It's incredible.
Yeah, slow and steady, one step in front of the other, right?
Yes. Okay, sweet. So then I just figured let's just keep rolling like this. Maybe
Perfect.
we can tell everybody how we first connected. I think that'd be really cool. I love meeting new people. And when I met you at that event, that was great.
It was amazing. Like it really opened up my heart set, to who I truly am. I was so lost, and being connected with people that were not like me, like I wasn't like that. And I'm like, what am I getting into? And to realize like, this is real. This is not a dream. It just opened up so many doors for me to figure out who I truly was. Like, so grateful that we met there. It was amazing.
Yeah, I loved it. For those who don't know, we did a virtual event from Tony Robbins, and we ended up in a virtual room together. And the minute I saw you speak, I was just like, I need to know this woman. And then we ended up again in another group. I was just like, I hope I get to connect with her again. And then we did. And I was like, this is amazing. And then from there, we just became Facebook friends. And I was just watching you do all the things. And I was just so fascinated by your story. And so I figured maybe now would be a really great time to just let everybody know about your life, Sherry, and like what brought you to this whole, like the book, everything. Like
That's great. Thank you so much, Crystal. I'll be honest, like this just transposed when I found my true self, when I figured out who I truly was. I realized, well, I'll stop, rewind. So in March of 2022, I found out that I had to have surgery, which would prevent me from ever having a child of my own. And that destroyed my spirit, my soul. Like I crumbled, and I felt those same emotions of wanting to take my life, which I made an attempt when I was a teenager. And I knew something had changed. There's something I had to figure out what's going on, because I can't keep going on this way. And that's when I saw the free Tony Robbins thing. So I did his free, he actually has one coming up here this week. It's like a free online course. And it made me realize that I am responsible for my life. I lead my life based on the choices and experiences and decisions on where to go. And I never connected those dots, and I was just living. I I didn't have a purpose or a guide. I was just living day by day and recognizing that all these years, I never knew who I was. I was wearing metaphorical masks because I was bullied really bad when I was younger, really bad. And I carried that with me up until then, until I figured it out. And I would put masks on just so I could fit in, just so I could not be bullied, not be hurt. I'm like, okay, pretend to be this person, pretend to be that person. And when I realized I was doing that, I was like, who is that woman in the mirror? I didn't know her. Like, who is that reflection looking back at me in that mirror? To not know who's staring back at you when it's you, it is terrifying. It terrified me. So I spent so much money and time on me, filling myself up, removing the boulders, all the BS, the belief system that was blocking me, to align and figure out who I truly am and what my true purpose is in life, which is to help others do the same. There's so much I didn't know that was an option. There's so many of us that don't even know that we are the ones holding ourselves back. And most of the time that's it. So I'm just grateful. I'll be honest, like when I started writing this book, after I was done writing, I was like, do I want to publish it? I was off and on because there's a lot of negativity in there. And, where focus goes, energy flows. And I keep my focus on what's good, what's positive, what's light. And I was scared because I'm putting some darkness out there. But there's a lot of people still stuck in that darkness. I can still remember those feelings and the thought that this book has the potential to help even one person. That was it. I had to publish it. And I know that it's a great tool and guide. I have so many tips and tricks that help me heal. We need to heal. And I just want to help others heal.
I love that. I love your story. Like just like the resiliency, like as I was going through your story about like getting to the process of having to have that surgery and then your life literally being like changed from what you wanted it to be. And I just was like, I need to have you on my show. Like I just got like, whoo, I just really felt that right now. And so many of us, like you say, we just don't realize we have choices. We don't realize that the rug will get pulled from under us. And I've spoke so much about that on my own show because my life, I think I'm doing one thing and then the universe is like, oh yeah, baby, we got another story. We got another plan for you. We're just going to go this way. And just getting to that point of like the surrender, I think is so like, it's so life shattering, but also like it gives you that strength to like, okay, now what? Like, here's my bottom. Now what? Where am I going to go?
Yeah. And that's that feminine energy to allow and surrender. And I blocked off that feminine energy pretty much my whole life. Like I was wearing that masculine mask so I could move ahead in life and really achieve and get where I needed to go. And when I realized that masculinity, that's all I knew. When I put on that feminine mask and I really embraced it, the power within our feminine energy, the masculine's good, but I'm telling you, tapping into that feminine divine, ooh, baby, that's a magic there. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, I've been the same, like so driven and like forceful masculine energy where it was really not the healthiest place, right? And as well, like I've been in this journey of like, what would it look like if I just allow my feminine to have more space? And I think that it is so powerful. We have both energies inside of us, by the way. So if you're a man watching this, like you have both energies as well. However you identify, it's not about gender. But I just want to bring it back to when you were sharing about like negativity. The way that I view it is like we have contrast within us. So like we have the light and we have the dark and the shadows that we just tend to like push away. I think that it's when we acknowledge them, and by you putting this in the book, it's like so relatable. Like we're going to link this in the show notes, by the way. Like you need to get this. She's got tools and all the things to just help you see, like lift the veil, take the masks off. And that's scary when, as you said, that was like a coping mechanism. So many of us have maladaptive coping mechanisms. And so I think like good on you for just being that brave, courageous, bold version of you to just, that's it. Like, I'm tired of my own shit and I'm going to change my life.
Oh, 100%. And you know what really helped push me through that is realizing with every moment of darkness, it's connected to a blessing. Every loss is connected to a blessing. You know, I lost my career, my job, but I was blessed to have a career and job. There's so many people out there that wish to experience. I got to experience that. You know, the loss of a parent, the loss of a friend. We need to focus on the blessing. So many of us are stuck in that loss and what we no longer have. We need to change our focus on what we did have and the blessing within that. That'll change your entire life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like in our society, we don't talk a lot about grief and we don't talk a lot about endings. But the truth is, the minute we take our first breath, we're already dying.
That's
so
right.
like, this is already happening. And so we just think everything's going to stay everything's going to stay constant. And the only constant is change. Like everything is very fluid. There's nothing that's going to stay as is. And I feel like the more we allow our human experience to talk about the grief, talk about the change, talk about having to just let it fall apart as it needs to. Mm-hmm. And then what gets to come from that?
Exactly. Yeah. It's breaking apart. When there's destruction, that means there's creation. You want to celebrate when the destruction happens. Ooh, baby, the creation is coming. It's making space for that new. So you want to celebrate when you feel you're down and out. You spirit, there is something big coming for me. I am so grateful and I'm ready. You celebrate when you are in those hard times, because I'm telling you, the beauty and magic is in knowing that no matter where you're at, there's always something good on the other side. You're guided. I believe it in my very core.
100%. And like the pain, like we are so afraid to face the pain. But the thing is like, I feel it's the resistance to the pain that causes more pain. Just like when people say the truth hurts, it's actually the resistance to the truth that hurts. It's just like getting a splinter. That doesn't feel good. Like you got to pull that out. If you ever got one really deep, it is not pleasant, but you pull it out. So it's just like we have splinters kind of like in our soul, and we're just trying to like don't poke around at it, but we just need to get in there, literally. Mm-hmm. That's the way I believe it as well, and just face it. It's that resistance and that rejection that creates that energy around it of like not feeling good.
Well, the fastest way to suffering is arguing with reality. Like, this is happening, you're in it, you can't say it's not happening, and so many of us do it. Yes. We are arguing with what's the truth that's really going on. We need to accept and allow and recognize the beauty that's within that. I've really put my focus on what good can come from this. I've really put my focus on what good can come from this and focus on that good. And it's helped pull me through some darkness for sure.
Yes. And like, just like we said, like the contrast, right? And so like, that means you're still alive. I think that the only problem that humans have is the fact that they think they shouldn't have problems. And it's like reworded to what are the opportunities of stretching right now? Like, we think of a seed that's going to grow, like it splits right apart. That doesn't seem pleasant,
Exactly.
And I've had conversations with clients saying, if caterpillars and like everything in the universe has a season, a cycle, we are part of that. And so like, if we even take it down to the smallest thing, like a caterpillar getting ready to go in the chrysalis, right? In the cocoon, if caterpillars had the mind of humans, they would be like, yo, bro, don't go in that thing. Because whatever's in there is going to eat you. And then that's it. It's the end of you. Caterpillars just troughs. They just go in, they melt, they liquefy. They got to eat their own legs to stay alive. Like that does not seem pleasant. But then they get to the other side and they have this beautiful metamorphosis. Like how incredible, like, so I'm just like liquefied a butterfly, like,
Oh, 100%. That's their hero journey, and they go for it without a doubt. And there's so many of us that avoid the hero's journey because of that. You have to go through the grit. You have to feel the pain. You need those experiences in order to move forward and live in that beauty, because without that experience, you're not going to really know what you're talking about. You have to just be. Yeah.
Just to surrender. Oh, this is so powerful. Yeah, I love this book. And I was like, we need to have you on the show because so many more people
So
need to know
grateful.
about your magic. And I love your reels. And then you started doing some lives and stuff like that, just to give people tools. And I feel like, especially after the last few years, a lot of us are stuck and a lot of us are feeling like, whoa, what the hell happened? Like, what the hell just happened? And so, like, yeah, is there anything that you feel like you would say to somebody who's probably like, but Sherry, you don't understand. Like, you don't understand because right now, like, they're stuck in that story of like the validation and the justification for why they need to stay stuck. What would you say to them?
Well, I would say, we all have a story. Each and every one of us have experienced our own trauma, and no one's trauma is any different from the other. We're living as ourselves, and every journey is on its own track, and we have no right to compare our journey to anyone else's. I can't compare myself to you because I haven't experienced what you experienced, and there's no way that I can even compare because I don't understand. I haven't experienced. You need to trust and believe in you. You need to go inward. What I had to do is love on myself. That's where I was really missing hugely, was that self-love piece. And you need to dig deep and figure out who you are, shadow self and all. You need to know the good, bad, and ugly so you're able to stand on your own and not need outside forces to determine who you are, where you are, or what you need to do. You need that power to come within. So I would say it's time to clear the noise and go inward and figure out who you are and where those triggers are truly coming from. Because beautiful, it's not the people around you, it's not the forces, it's not external factors. It's a mirror, my friend. It's within you. You have to go within. And that's what I would say.
Yeah, that's so powerful. And like even just that self-love piece. I mean, I came from like a bodybuilding career. Well, I actually got into bodybuilding because I hated my body. Like I fucking hated my body. And then I got into bodybuilding thinking, hey, I'm going to become like the quote unquote, like this is what's acceptable. This is the norm.
Yeah.
This is the standard. And I get it, like the beauty objectification, especially as women, like this is how it's just been ingrained in our conditioning. And yet I got to those places and I was like, I hate myself more. And so that's when I realized, like, whoa, yo, like there's deep stuff. It's not about the food, it's not about your body. What is happening? And so, like, that self-love piece, like for me, I had to go, like, with such a huge gap between like self-love and self-disgust. I had to like get to like, oh, that was hard. And now I'm at a place where I'm like, I think I'm so friggin' awesome. Like, regardless of what anybody else, I'm like, I'm good. Like,
That's right.
and but it's that journey of self-love. And so, like, what would you say to somebody who's like, but I don't know how to love myself? Like, what does that even look like? What's the tangible?
Yeah, I was there. That journey was probably the most difficult for me because I didn't even know who I was. How could I love that person? So the self-love piece, I'd say, was my most difficult part. And I found like starting out was just to sit for 2 minutes and just say, I love you, I love you, I love you. And a big thing for me now is looking in that mirror straight on in my eye, like facing dead on, looking into my eye and just telling myself that I love myself. That's where I would begin because I'm telling you the healing just by acknowledging who you are and telling yourself that is where I started. And that just exploded me to want to try new tools because it has to feel authentic. You have to authentic. You can't be, oh, I love me. And inside, no, I really don't. So I had to start from the bottom. And for me, I had to look in that mirror and really connect with me and fall in love with me. So that's how I started.
I love that. That's something similar to what I had to do too. I used to journal and like I would just pick apart my body and then one day I just had my body right back to me, and then the tables switched and then I was like, okay, well, what can I learn to like appreciate, you know? And then as somebody for like the last year, so when we met, I was dealing with like severe central spinal stenosis. And I remember like,
that, yeah.
being in the room with you and just like your light. And I was just like, oh, I think I even cried the first time like I talked with you because I was just like, you're so powerful. Like it just helped me remember who I be. And so like, getting to that part of like, that's it, Crystal, you're tired of your shit. Like you're going to own this. Like you're not defined by that label. I 100% believe we're not defined by the labels
Mm-hmm.
we self-impose or let society put onto us. Right. And so I started that work, and just remembering like you get to move. I remember you saying something about like you get to move. You get to, and I was
Mm-hmm.
like, I do get to move, and it's like it's limited movement, but I can move, and
That's
just
right.
like switching the perspective of just like, man, you are so blessed and you don't even know. And like to fast forward to like almost a year later, and like literally in the last month or so, I've knock on wood, I felt this huge shift in my body, like this release of like, ah,
Oh my
and it
God.
feels so good. Like I've been doing a lot of that somatic healing,
Yes.
forgiveness work, and like breaking down the fascia because I know that it's holding all
Yes.
up in my lymph, like just doing all of the modalities. And every time I do it, and I remind myself, like, you get to do this. Like you get to do this. And I'm just like, I was so happy to have you on today to be like, thank you for being in that room and telling me like that phrase. I don't even think you were saying it to me. I think you were saying it to another participant. And I was just like, ooh, I am going to, yeah, that is straight hardcore. Go right in that mirror and tell yourself, like, you get to, like,
That's right. Yeah, get have out of there or got to. Yeah, got to is no good. You get to. It's a gift. Every moment, like as soon as I get up out of bed, I bless my day. I'm so grateful that I am breathing, that I'm alive. We
every
take advantage of the small, simple things around us that are really the big, major things, and we don't even recognize it. And by being grateful and blessing those small things that make me amazing has just transformed everything within me. My life is so beautiful because of those small things.
Yes. It's like you turn the dial on the frequency radio of just like, you had
Yes.
static and you're just like, oh, I can hear the song better now. I just love that. And you could tell it just like radiates off of you, like just, and then in your words when you write, like I feel that. And so like I was so happy to have you on the show and like to just promote the book, like for everything will be linked in the show notes. But like literally, this is like it's 2024. Like, what would you say to somebody right now? They're listening to this and they're like, now what?
I'm going to be straight up and honest with you. This isn't easy. This self work going in deep
Mhm.
is not easy. But how is normal treating you? How is your life treating you? Is it easy? Is it like so I wasn't willing to not take the hard route because I knew that's my core, that's my purpose. So I would say, it's time to figure out who you truly are. We only get one chance to live. And I know I've said it. I know how cliche it sounds, but it's the truth. And it's your choice, your decision on how you travel the journey of your life. And it's up to you to decide if you want to do it by social norms, the status quo, or do you want to do it by your true, authentic self? Live through your purpose. We're all here for a reason. We're all here for a purpose. And a lot of us don't even know what that is. It's time to clear the noise, get that BS out of your head,
Yeah.
and live as you.
Mhm.
It's true. I've lost almost all my friends, I'll be honest. I've lost a lot of friends, a lot of family, a lot of judgment, because they don't understand. They don't get who I am, how I've changed. And that's because I was living for them before. I was doing whatever I could to make them happy and please them. And now I'm living for myself. And I'm okay with that. I am standing strong on my own and doing the work on my own. And I'm better because of it. And I'm getting a new crew. The people that are supposed to be in me and that are high vibing people, they're coming, they're attracted to me. So, yes, I'm not going to lie to you, especially in the beginning, it's difficult. It is. It's hard work. But
Yeah.
as I said, how's your life treating you now?
Mhm. Mhm. And I really love that you brought up the fact that you like when you start to change, everything around you shakes. And
Mhm.
that's where you're going to see like what needs to fall apart, what needs to
Yeah.
go. And it hurts. But the thing is like, you got to do it.
Mhm.
And I feel like a lot of people are not really talking about that part. They're not talking about like the growth journey and how sometimes it can feel so lonely. But the truth of the matter is you're not alone. There are so many
No,
other people that are waking up and they're taking up space in their life and they're creating what they want. And I think that that's the end goal because you're the only thing you're going to have through your whole freaking life.
exactly.
Well, like, why do we want to live for somebody else? Like, you'll never be able to fit into what they want you to be. And so it's like going back to who you be before the world told you who you had to be, right? And it's just like I think that that's so powerful that you brought that up because it can be super lonely.
Well, I almost thought about quitting and going backwards because I was like, everybody left. And I remember I kept saying, I'm lonely. I'm lonely. And then I had to figure, why am I lonely? I had to question that. And it was that self-love piece. You are not lonely if you are loving on yourself. And once I fed myself, you go girl. And I'm not lonely. I don't need anyone. I have my spirit guides. I am healthy, whole, and complete and ready to take on this world. So
Yes. That is such a beautiful thing. So I'm thinking like let's think about like one positive like one powerful question I want to ask you. Let's say you
okay.
get to the end of your journey, the end of your days, and you're about to take your last few breaths. Like what is the one thing that you want to look back on and be proud of?
I want to know that I made a difference, that I was able to help someone, no matter, sorry, I get emotional about it because
So beautiful.
it's my purpose. I've been put on this earth to help others understand the beauty within themselves. And I don't want anyone to feel stuck and live the way I was. And I want to close that gap for them. And I want them to live as their true selves. I just want to know that I helped at least one person and my life's complete. I know. Sorry.
Mhm. Oh, I feel that. I feel that. I have like the same vision. It's just like, man, we're not alone.
No.
And I feel like those who've been through like the darkest nights of the soul and they have
Yes.
like those chapters that they'll probably never read out loud, those are the ones that are like the guiding lights of like, wake
Oh,
it up, like let's light you back up. Let's light you back up. Like only together can we light up the world. And it's just like, man, that's so beautiful.
yes, yes. And that's why I was so vulnerable. You have to be vulnerable. I was terrified because there's some dark stuff that I put in there. And I was, especially where I live, Crystal, I live where it's very career oriented, it's oil and gas. And some of my past, I'm sure if the company I was previously working at knew that, I would never be employed. And so it was terrifying, especially living here, the judgment that I would, and then I realized it doesn't matter. I don't care what anyone else thinks anymore. It's not for them. I'm not for everybody. I recognize that. I'm my own flavor. Not everybody's gonna. That's it. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Thank you so much for being on the show, Sherry. Like, I just love your face, your energy, your vibe. One day we're going to meet in person. Meet in person.
Oh,
I
I
feel
can't wait so much. This is amazing. You guys all have a blessed day. Thank you so much, Crystal.
thank you.